welcome back to the Mannix Factor. I'm Mannix. Thank you for rocking with me on this day or evening or whenever you're coming out to see me. Thank you. Thank you for spending a little bit with me. All right, let's get into it. The Griz get a dub over Portland State, 28-17, improving our record to 8-3. A little bit of an overview, right? Going through the game, we were down 3-0 at half, so our first half offensively wasn't amazing. Our defense obviously had 3 points, so that was good on them. And then we come back in the second half and we put up 28 points to win. It was just a great second half performance by our offense out there. And let's get into our offense, right? Quarterback of this game, he didn't start in, but he was kind of the hero, Logan Fife. 9 of 14, 64.3% completion percentage, 197 yards, 3 touchdowns passing, had 4 carries for that averaged out that totaled out to 5 yards for a touchdown, and it was just a great game. No turnovers. He played a great game. Some of the throws were some of the best throws I've seen all year. Actually throwing it downfield, not short passes and let our playmakers go, which is a fair strategy for who we have as our playmakers. But I'm glad to kind of see us in this game try and air it out down the field. Moving on to our other quarterback, Kiali Ayat. 7 of 13, 53.8 percentage, 50 yards. He had that pick, and he fumbled, but they got the ball back. And then 4 carries, 10 yards. He got hurt. But I think it was an ankle, and I think ankle injuries. I believe if he needs to be, I think we're gonna go with Logan in our next game, which I'll get to later. But I think if need be, he'd be ready for it. Moving on to the running game. Big improvement this week, right? Eli Gilman, 14 carries, 134 yards, 9.6 yards a carry, and had a catch for 15 yards on top of it too. That put him back up in the top 5 in yards per carry. It was just a nice bounce back spot after kind of struggling in the yards department the past couple games for Eli. And then Nick Osmo, 9 carries, 50 yards, 5.6 a carry, and also had an 11-yard catch. So our running game was back this game, and I think that's good because we need to have a confident backfield going into our next game. And just in general, that's how we can play better football is if we have a confident, successful run game. Moving on to our receivers. Sawyer Racanelli. 4 catches on 6 targets, 67%, 102 yards, 25.5 a catch. And he had that 81-yard electric receiving touchdown just on a slant, just used his legs and got us in there. Really fired up the crowd, really fired up the team in this game. Aaron Fonts, another guy, 6 receptions on 11 targets, was really getting the ball and throwing his way this game. 54.5% complete targeted, 90 yards, 15 yards a catch, and he had that 35-yard receiving touchdown, which is kind of what I mentioned about Logan Fife airing it out. He actually threw a ball that was 20 yards and above for once. So I think that's good. I think that was something missing this year that we had last year was throwing a deep ball. And then Junior Bergen, 2 receptions, 4 targets, 50%, 14 yards, 7 to catch, 0 tutties. A bit of a slower game, but he did kind of get roughed up last week a little bit, so I kind of think they were kind of keeping him low-key, especially going into the postseason. Going into the playoffs, we're going to need him to be at his best. Other notable receivers, Eric Barker, 11-yard receiving touchdown, and then Cole Grossman, a senior tight end, also had a 4-yard catch. And then kicking, this is quite literally another game. We haven't kicked a field goal in a couple weeks now. Ty Morrison, 4 for 4 on PATs again. So not really a complaint for me on that front. Overall, our offense, like I said, obviously wasn't productive in the first half, but second half came out and balled. Logan Five really showed that. I believe he showed potential and what we can do still. Now let's get into that defense, starting with our top tacklers. Ryan Tyrrell, 14 total tackles, 10 assisted, 4 solo, and split a tackle for loss with Trevin Gradney for a total of a yard. TJ Roush had 10 total tackles, 5 assisted, 5 solo, 1 tackle for loss for 4 yards. And then Riley Wilson, 9 total tackles, 7 assisted, 2 solo. And then there's a group of guys overall I want to shout out on defense. Chase Kluswich, 2 interceptions, big plays from him, 40 total return yards on those for him. Drew Deck, a tackle for loss for 2 yards. Hayden Harris, tackle for loss for 4 yards. Henry Noose, forced fumble. Tyson Rostad, 1 interception. Andres Lehrman, tackle for loss for 13 yards and a forced fumble. And then Noah Koschmitter, a sack for 7 yards. Totaling our defense out to 6 tackle for losses, a sack, 3 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. A great game from our defense. Getting turnovers. This was our best game so far defensively, forcing turnovers, totaling out at 5. This is the kind of thing we need to do in the future in the playoffs and even next week. If we can force turnovers, we'll be really setting up the offense to succeed and setting up the Griz to progress in the playoffs. But like I said, we're 8-3, and if we want to get to 9-3, we have to play our next opponent, which is Montana State. Brawl the Wild. It's this Saturday, baby, in Bozeman, which I'm kind of thankful for because as much as I'm over here saying FTC, fuck the Cats, the Cats are 11-0. Can't deny the facts. They're 11-0. They look unbeatable. This is the best Cats team that we've had to play in recent history. So it's a tall order from us. And most of that is due to probably a top 5 quarterback in all of the FCS in Tommy Mellott. He's 6th in completion percentage, 2nd in passing efficiency, 3rd in points responsible for, and he's got a total of 21 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns. So he is a force, and if we want to beat Montana State, our defense has to not let him scramble and make plays with his feet, much like we did this week against Portland State and their quarterback. We also have to do, again, we kind of have to do the same thing we did against Portland State. Contain their quarterback and force him to make mistakes. And that's what our defense has to do. And due to it being a rivalry, I have no doubt that we can do it. It's just a matter of if we go out there and do it. They also have a really good running back. The running game is Montana State's offense's best asset. Scotty Humphrey, 3rd in rush per carry, 13 touchdowns, 5th in rushing yards, and then 7th in rushing yards per game in all of the FCS. Then they have their backup running back, Adam Jones, is 4th in yards per carry. So the running game, like I said, Tommy Mellott's mobile, Scotty Humphrey, and Adam, the running attack is really good, and we're going to have to be able to stop it and force Tommy Mellott to throw and hopefully make mistakes if we want to win. Their last game, they just won 30-28 over UC Davis, which is one I was hoping they'd lose to knock their confidence, but they won. Tommy Mellott, 18 for 25, 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then their third string running back, Julius Davis, 13 carries, 91 yards, and a touchdown. So that's another potential running weapon they have on that team. Historically, obviously, the Griz are on top. All-time record, we're 75 75, 42, and 5 against the Bobcats all time. So we're 33 wins ahead of them. But we're 5-5 in our last 10 games against them. So right down the middle. Obviously, last season we won 37-7 because we were an amazing. Obviously, we were a championship level squad last year. So we're gonna have to play like that if we want to win this game. My recommended strategy, as I said, defensively, contain Tommy Malott and the running game, limit it as much as possible, and force Tommy Malott to make mistakes, and just bring the pressure and not let him get loose. And then offensively, passing the ball, which is why I think Logan should definitely be starting. He's a bit more accurate, he's been better throwing the football. And that is what teams who have gotten it close, or teams in general, have had the most success doing, is throwing the football, not so much running the football. But we need to be firing on all cylinders, so being able to run the football would also be nice. But I think if we can't run it, we can win by throwing it, because that's just kind of how football works in today's age. So, pass the football on offense, contain Tommy Malott mostly, and the running game on defense, and we can win this game in Bozeman to take us to 9-3 into the playoffs. This would also be a big confidence boost, right? This would give us confidence to end a home game, which would be big for playoffs. But just the confidence that we can beat anybody, and hopefully playing with that confidence and start beating everybody and really be a surprise contender that no one thinks we are. So anyway, that's it. Fuck the Cats. Go Griz. Watch the game if you're going to the game. Cheer loud. And thank you for watching. And peace out.